nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The pirates are all
Roll call, please, Pat.
Commissioner Leap.
Here.
Commissioner Velarde. Commissioner Long.
Here.
Commissioner Ganant.
Here.
Commissioner Kepler.
Here.
Thank you. For an announcement, we had an executive session on April 27th to discuss personnel. For public comment, at the beginning of the meeting, any individual may speak up to 3 minutes on any township topic. And during the meeting, only residents, stakeholders, and local businesses may speak at the podium for 1 minute based on the agenda item. Is there any public comment? Lisa?
Good evening, everybody. I just would like to speak. I know I'm a Jackson Township resident, but started getting very involved in Pocono. Lisa Buchholz, Buchholz, Jackson Township. And I just want to say, it started getting involved in this township when it came to the warehouses, and now I'm familiar with the idea of having maybe an environmental board. And I would just like to advocate for Josh. He was involved with the warehouses and has a knowledge, not opposed to economic development, but also has enough knowledge now from just the fighting of the warehouses on, environmental impacts as well, and balancing the two. And I just would like to say I think he would be a very strong person to have on the board. And I appreciate you letting me just say that. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Any other public comment?
Sure.
Cheryl?
Hi, Cheryl Parks. Been taxpayer for 39 years. So we're on our 39th blast now at my house. I have cracks going across my whole house inside. I have stress cracks in almost all the rooms. Any place where I had drywall that was taped, was seamed, all the tape is lifting. All my molding around my rooms is separating from the ceiling. I had a structural engineer out there last week from the insurance company. He took about 40 pictures. I had recorded the blast on Friday, which was really heavy, and he listened to it. And when I told him, I was told by the DEP blasting people that there was no cumulative effect of 38 blasts, he just laughed. So I don't know where I go from here. Now, if they're going to blast 40 feet from my house, I'm not going to have a house left. I've had no quality of life for the last 3 years there, between the kennel and between this stuff. And now if they're putting those water lines in, I mean, they've got pink tape tied onto trees. I'm sure that's not where the property line is. I'm sure those trees didn't just grow on that property line. So I don't understand why they don't have to have a formal survey, for one thing. I don't understand how they can blast that close to my house. I'd really like to know a schedule for that or what's going on. We're no longer getting any schedules for the blasting. So they've given up on that. And they came twice and monitored next to my house. That was all. I did call the DEP again on last week to make sure I did file a complaint, because I've gotten no kind of confirmation that I did. And they said I did, but I filed another one. I don't know if I'm going to get a confirmation. Then she asked me if anybody came out to check it out, and I said no. So right now, I just don't even know. I'm just so upset When I see those people on Kevin's Lane and that was allowed to be done to their property and nobody even, the people that are supposed to protect us made sure that there were any buffers or anything. And I'm just disgusted by the whole thing. And now my house has fallen down. Apparently that's okay. And apparently I don't have much recourse. So I just wanted to let you go. As of today, we were on our 39th blast. So that's been since January. How long are they going to do this? It started out to be a 2-week thing. And that was 16th of January. We're now into May. Thank you.
Thank you. Can John or Leo address any of that? Any of those questions as far as blasting her house? Can she call? Anything she could do? We could do?
Well, I mean, she's, correct me if I misspeak, Cheryl, please. But she has contacted DEP again to make another complaint. If she doesn't get any response from DEP, which I understand that she hasn't got a prompt response, I would go to Maureen Madden's office. Oh, okay. Well, then you're a half a step ahead of me, which I expected, to be honest with you. And she's already had her homeowner's insurance come out and have the property looked at by a structural engineer, and that's going to tell a lot of the story.
The only thing I was going to add to that is that when we had the meeting on site and DEP was there, I asked about notification for blasting, and they said that they were doing that as a courtesy at that point in time, but they have no legal obligation to notify anybody. So that's what I got from DEP. Yeah, and I pushed them on that, and that's when they told me that, yes, they said they would do that as a courtesy, but there was no obligation in the regs to require that.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Anyone online? No? Okay, we will move on. The presentations. I just wanted to run something by the board before we begin this. Generally, when we advertise for committees, which we did earlier, we put it on our Facebook page, we put it out there, people come in, they get interviewed. This time we did that, but then we never re-advertised that we didn't make all the positions. There weren't enough people that applied. So I don't know if we're jumping the gun. Like we didn't publicly offer this out to everybody. So I don't know how the board feels about moving on with the interviews. We can certainly do that. I personally don't think we should appoint anybody that applies tonight because we should reopen it to the public. I would be in favor of appointing some of those people that came out the first time. And then we have some vacancies that we will have to fill with the new applicants, but pleasure of the board. I'm just wanted some feedback.
I wouldn't like to appoint like partial now and partial later. If we were going to do our appointments, I'd want to see all the candidates before we appointed. So I wouldn't want to say like, we could appoint the people who applied last time, but not the people, or, the people who interviewed last time, but not the people who didn't. Because then again, we may appoint someone and then get a bunch more qualified candidates next time, and then we'll be SOL. I'd rather appoint all at once we've seen everyone. I don't necessarily have a problem pushing it back another week, but I know we want to get this on the book. So I don't know how everybody else feels, but
Natasha.
It doesn't matter to me either way. I mean, I thought when we pushed this last meeting, it was to give the 3 people who were not able to attend the meeting the chance to come back this meeting to interview. So everyone who was interested had submitted their resumes in advance.
No, I think there's one on here that is new from the last list. That came in after. So it's a pleasure of the board. I don't know how you feel, Matt.
I'm in favor of appointing the full council tonight. Now, whether the board I do believe one person came in after our advertised deadline. So, um, I think it's up to the board whether they want to consider her along with everyone else or not. But I'm in favor of appointing the board tonight, the council.
How many people on the board
So
as far as citizens?
it'd be 5 people
Plus the PC plus BOC.
Yes. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people for 5 spots. Technically.
I'd be okay with moving forward.
Then we will move forward. So we have 3 people, I believe, here. Gianna, Timothy, and Lorette. Is everyone here?
I don't see Lorette. I don't think she's here.
Okay.
She may be online. I'm not sure. No.
Okay. Now, last time we asked them to step out, but the speaker's out in the hall. So I guess it doesn't really matter. How does the board feel about that? Okay. So we'll start with Gianna.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gianna Leo Falcon. I think that my face is probably fairly new to all of you. We've been out here a couple of years. Our kids go to Pocono Mountain East. And we're actually building a house in Pocono Township. We plan to stay here and raise our kids here. I was actually really moved by this woman's speech, and I think that in terms of an environmental advisory board, it's critical now more than ever that we have people that are in the community that are also attached to and connected to environmentally conscious actions. To talk a little bit about my past and how I would qualify for a board like this, my family and I have dedicated our lives to holistic living, and being really conscious of what we introduce to our family in terms of toxins, food choices that we make, the world that we're living in. And I know for a lot of you who have grown up out here has become extremely toxic. And if we don't be careful and we don't become more mindful of how we're developing, we're not going to have this environment anymore. And I think that we can get very cavalier. Maybe some of this development is going to feed the township in ways that might benefit the community. But like this lady said, this type of development is destroying people's homes, and it's destroying the environment that we live in. On an environmental advisory board, I think that what we would do and what I hope I would contribute to is try to make the development as conscious as we can, meaning that I know that there have been some initiative with data centers. If you're going to build a warehouse, when it's abandoned one day, will you deconstruct it? If you're going to build these grand scale developments, how can you also make them green and conscious? How do we proceed with development in an environmentally conscious way? I'm not convinced we can, but I think that the advisory board should be there to ask those questions. And if there's nobody there asking the questions, we're going to destroy this area. What I've seen and witnessed already is a lot of really hodgepodgey development, meaning that the Poconos went from 20 years ago when I would come up to visit and vacation out here. There was a lot of development that wasn't done with a lot of consciousness. It looks crazy in some areas. Like this wasn't the right place to put this. And then 3 years later, it's completely abandoned. We have so many abandoned sites here in the Poconos. And then we're just developing more and more. And I feel like there could be a more conscious way to do this. We could really become a team, work with developers to try to figure out ways to do this in a more conscious way. Maybe even take into aesthetics. How can we make this more beautiful? I think that environmental consciousness is also about beauty. If we're going to develop these things, are we also asking them to reforest? Maybe as a part of a development plan, we're also asking there's an abandoned place over here. As a wealthy developer, are you willing to do a buy-in to regenerate this abandoned area? And we create some kind of leverage between the two. So I think that there's ways to merge these things. And I think that these developers are rather wealthy. Nobody is putting in these massive $1 million projects who don't have money. Could they invest $1 million to build some new playgrounds for some of the communities that are lacking? I'm just wondering, like, what are some of the things? Could they invest in some projects to clean up some of our waterways? So I feel like an environmental advisory board for me is definitely people who are sounding the alarm, but also how can we do this more mindfully and more skillfully moving forward? Because developers are here, they're not going anywhere. But how do we push them to ask those questions, and how do we push them to engage with our community in a different kind of way? I'm assuming a lot of you guys have kids. I have kids. I brought them here today. I think that we need to really think about our children. Like, the world that we grew up in is not going to be the same for them. I can't stress that to you guys. With data centers coming in, warehouses, this is not the world that you guys grew up in. And I really ask, is this the world that you want your grandkids to live in? It's not the world that I want my kids to live in. I want them to have natural areas to play in. So that's my speech. I'm a local mom. I'm a mental health counselor. I have a master's degree in psychology. My husband is an arborist. He owns a tree company in the Poconos and works in East Stroudsburg and all around the Poconos. And my daughter goes to Pocono Mountain East. Our roots are here. We're investing in building a house in Pocono Township. We're actually building right now. So we're invested in this community. And I want to see good things for this area. I want to see this become a place that people want to go to, you know, not being like, I don't know, the Poconos is kind of looking crazy right now, you know, like, do I want a vacation there, or do we want to go to Hudson? We talk about making money, but the way that it looks here is also money, you know? So that's what I leave you guys with. I really would love to be on this advisory board. I'm invested in the community. I'm also a therapist, so I'm open to hearing other people's thoughts. I'm not going to be a bulldog. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just had one question.
Yeah.
You live in Pocono Township now?
I live in
right?
Pocono Township
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Oh yeah. Sorry. I thought it was like a
No, that's okay. No, thank you.
no. Thank you so much.
Timothy?
Good evening, everybody.
Hey.
I wrote something up real quick here too as well. My name is Timothy Waugh, and it's seeking an appointment for the Environmental Council. I bring on hands-on experience in hazardous materials and contamination as an operating engineer in New Jersey, where I've worked directly with environmental risks, regulations, and real-world problems. I also serve with the U.S. Coast Guard AUX. I've held leadership roles as the flotilla commander, which has strengthened my ability to work collaboratively and serve the public. What I offer is a practical, field-based perspective. I understand how environmental policies play out beyond paper, and I'm committed to helping this council make informed, balanced decisions that protect our community while supporting responsible growth. Here personally, where we live too as well, we also have had some issues in the past. For those who are familiar with Railroad Road and what, people can't even drink out of their wells, it's horrible. Even off of Sullivan Trail, there was another issue there. They did clean that up, the state did. And I just don't want to see that ever happen again in our area, and that's why I feel that I need to get on this council. Just going to keep it real succinct here, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Any
Does anybody
questions?
have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then I'll ask, is Lorette Battle here or online? Okay, that concludes the interviews. Is there a motion to appoint?
I'll make a motion to appoint Timothy Waugh to the Environmental Advisory Council.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm gonna make a motion, make it quick. I would say, I would vote to appoint Chris Great Garvey, Randy Pacheca, Jim Pellegrini, Gianna, and our planning commission member Kyle Van Fleet. And the only reason I skipped over Josh is and not because I wanted to, Josh, is because you're not a resident, and I believe that our ordinance says you have to be a resident. That's the only reason. But
Ellen, I'd rather do them individually. Are you?
I was gonna motion for division of the question. I would also like to vote on them individually.
okay,
I appreciate you trying to
Right.
get us home quicker.
Fine.
But
then well, I don't have to withdraw because it wasn't seconded. So I'll just make a motion to appoint Randy Pacheca.
Second.
Discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to appoint Jim Pellegrini.
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Chris Great Garvey.
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that's 4, correct?
Mhm.
Yes. I'll make a motion to appoint Kyle Van Fleet, our planning commission representative.
Second.
Motion to postpone indefinitely.
I assume that's a motion to table. Is there a second?
No, it's a motion to postpone indefinitely is a debatable motion. We can't table on this because there's no immediately pending business. But postpone indefinitely would be essentially what we've in the past used as a table motion. But it is
Well-
debatable.
I'm not in favor of that. Anybody else in favor?
Nope.
So do we go back to the motion that's on the table, Leo?
Yes.
I would think so, but does there need to be a motion on the motion to postpone? I mean,
It needs to
vote
be
on the-
seconded. It would need to be seconded and it would need to be.
so it was not
passed
seconded,
with-
so it
with
fails for
majority.
lack of second.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table to appoint Kyle Van Fleet, our planning commission appointee.
If I may have the floor, I don't think that.
I don't think you can yet. I think there has to be a second. before-
I was seconded.
Second.
Ms.
Oh, I'm
Hopkins
sorry, I
seconded.
didn't hear you,
Natasha.
Natasha. I didn't hear you.
If I may have the floor, I don't feel that Mr. Van Fleet has the character to serve on our environmental advisory board. He has made some deeply troubling comments towards me. Mr. Kepler, you have F with the wrong hillbilly cutter man. Next time you're faced with a decision, do some research because the next careless decision could cost you your town, your life, or your job. You don't get many second chances. Use it wisely. We need to cut the head off this liberal snake and squash this S word before we end up on the news again. I've given you ample time to save yourself. You're done. You just haven't realized that yet. Just like you don't know when to STFU. Another part of my family lived in this area when Native Americans were killing people for colonizing. Don't be twisting this into a death threat, you slime ball. I'm just pointing out how history is sadly repeating itself.
I'm just going to interrupt you for a minute to see if legally, Leo, do I have to allow this?
He's allowed to make his comment.
Okay.
I feel that it's deeply troubling that we're even considering him for this position. Someone who is saying things like that about anyone, I don't even think like it being a sitting commissioner about anyone. I don't think that is the type of person who should be serving on one of our township boards.
And those comments came after you called him a racist in an open meeting.
Okay, so I'm sorry, no more public comment. There's a motion on the table, right? Any further discussion? Any public comment?
Yeah, I have public comment. I don't know if it's a conflict of interest, but I'm just wondering if he's suggesting that this gentleman has spoken like this. Is that appropriate to have someone like that on the board that's speaking so violently about someone else? Just an environmental advisory board? I think that sounds like a conflict of interest to me, regardless of whether or not I get the position. Like, I do think that sounds like a conflict of interest. It would feel wildly inappropriate if a board voted him in after he just said that. How would that have us develop trust in the people that are serving us? It's just a thought.
Joe.
Speaking about Kyle, I've known him for 25 years that I've been here. He's extremely qualified for this position, knowledgeable, everything else that comes with it. As far as his tongue in the letter that he wrote to you, you did call him a racist, of which he's not. That's what happens.
Any other public comment?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Your
As
name,
far
please.
as
Your name,
Robert Turnbull, I am a Pocono Township resident. If there is one commissioner out of the five of you and they have a problem, it's a ongoing battle of words or whatever you want, because just like Joe said about Kyle, there's two sides to every story. I don't think, if he wants to make his comment, that's fine. But if the guy has served diligently and professionally on the planning commission, as you've seen, then what one commissioner feels because he has, stirred up the pot, if you will, with the verbal abuse and such not, then, I don't believe that, we're just going to disqualify him. A lot of the people that comment and stuff that know him and know what he's done, I mean, I don't see that happening. And to be able to just say, well, we'll just postpone that indefinitely. Well, that's like saying, you might as well take his name off that, until we get to it somewhere down the road. Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any other public comment?
I just wanted to say also, Kyle's the only planning commission member who put his name forward. So it's not like it's Kyle or somebody else. It's Kyle or nobody from the planning commission. I want somebody on the planning commission on the EAC. They have a lot of experience. So it's important context, I feel like.
So if I could just respond to that briefly, we have 3 openings on the planning commission, and my hope would be that we're appointing several, new, very highly qualified people to our to our environmental advisory commission now. I would like to open it up to them to see if any of them would consider stepping on to our planning commission as well, potentially.
Okay. Anybody online?
Oh, there's a hand in the back.
Monica?
Monica Garrity, Henryville. I was here at the reorg meeting and Charles said that everybody on the board was basically racist because we didn't have an African American on the board, and he wanted to open it up so that African Americans could come out and be on the board, and nothing happened. So I don't think the board is racist. And I think, I do know Kyle. I think he's a stand-up guy, but I think he was upset. You tried to destroy him for what you said. He's a businessman and you attacked him personally. So of course he's going to get upset and say things. So I don't think it disqualifies Kyle. I think he's a good guy. And I think, you attack people. You have done it for several people so far. And I think that needs to stop. So I would like to give Kyle a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Anybody online? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nick.
Motion carried.
Motion to appoint Matt Long to the Environmental Advisory Commission.
I appreciate it, but I decline. I was going to nominate Ellen. I think she's got the experience and knowledge to guide the council and provide a lot of perspective. And I was hoping she would consider it.
I'll second that.
Do you accept?
I accept if it goes through. Yep.
I don't know if I actually said I motioned to appoint Ellen, but I will again if necessary.
Any discussion? Public comment? Anyone online? I guess a roll call vote, Pat. I'm going to abstain from voting for myself.
You don't have to.
I know.
Commissioner Leap,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Ganant,
Abstain.
Commissioner Kepler.
Yes. Thank you.
Ellen, I do believe we're
We still
still
need
missing
one
one
more.
person, so so Josh Knapp's residency was figured out last meeting, correct?
My understanding is while he owns a home here, he is a resident of New York. So to me, it's not, now that I understand all the facts, and I believe if I misstate something, Josh, please correct me, but I believe you're a New York resident, New York license. Okay. It'd be no different than somebody owning a summer home up here coming in saying, I spend.
In years, I'm usually here more than half the time with not happening. So, you know, I have an interest in Pocono, I have an interest in property development. I came out here.
Josh, if you're going to speak, would you mind coming up to the microphone?
I came out for the environment. I love this place and I spend what I consider my quality time here. I spend my business in New York. So you guys.
You're on
You have
almost
to-
every single meeting. You're zoomed in
I'm
almost every single
I'm
meeting.
zoomed in, yeah.
Yeah. So
Even when, to be honest with you, sometimes even when I'm out here, I'm zoomed in.
So I would like to make a motion to appoint Josh Knapp.
Second.
Thank you.
Discussion? So we have I just want to clarify this. We have a committee that says you have to be a resident and we're going to appoint a non-resident. How do we do that?
I think he's a resident at least 50% of the time, as he just said. And he's been,
But that's not a
Here.
resident as you vote here. I mean, I'm all for Josh. I wish he lived here because I would have nominated him myself. But I think to be fair and follow the rules, if you're not a resident and we said you had to be a resident, then I just don't think he's qualified, but that's my opinion.
So, Leo,
Yes, sir.
I'm not a lawyer, but the ordinance doesn't say primary resident or anything like that. It says you have to be a resident. My mom's an accountant. I did ask her this actually, Josh, and I asked her, if somebody can be a resident of 2 states, and she said, for tax purposes, yes, you can be. Now you have to be a primary resident somewhere, but that doesn't seem to be the question here. The ordinance doesn't say you have to be a primary resident. It says you have to be a resident. So that would be my argument for Josh. He does pay taxes here on the property,
right?
I do pay taxes here a
you're a
lot.
stakeholder.
I just got my tax bill, as we all did.
So I mean, if you take it to an extreme, somebody who owns a property here that runs an Airbnb, but is a taxpayer, but lives out of state, they would also be qualified for this council, in theory.
Technically, they'd be qualified for
In-
anything, wouldn't they? In Pocono Township, because they'd be
Well,
a stakeholder taxpayer.
he
for a
lives
taxpayer,
here,
But they wouldn't be able to run for.
but he lives here. And is it more than half the year or not? We can have that discussion.
No,
Like,
no, no,
he lives
that's
here.
not my debate. I'm just
Like, he
taking it to
doesn't
an
reside
extreme.
here.
I'm taking it to an extreme.
Someone who owns an Airbnb but never actually resides here, I feel like that's different than somebody who resides here.
It's an advisory board. So if you're comfortable, which I've known Josh 12 years, and I can tell you that he doesn't miss meetings. I think he's missed less than I have, and I've missed about 3, Josh.
Well,
But it's a decision of the board. They're an advisory board. They're not a decision-making board. There's nothing in any first-class township ordinance. I don't believe, I don't want to misspeak. I can look up the environmental council. Give me half a second. If we could perhaps pause this, I'll ask my parliamentarian, how do we pause this vote so that we can come back to it? I just want to check the EAC and make sure there's nothing in the first-class code.
We would motion to postpone to a specific time and date.
We can do
Or
that tonight.
yes, we could do that. So
Okay.
we could, anyone at any time during consideration tonight could make a motion to postpone. It would need to be seconded and receive a majority vote. So we could either postpone indefinitely and, decide the time later, or we could postpone to our next meeting and have it, scheduled directly onto the agenda.
I just want to vote for the record.
I'm in agreement because I've been on the BOC for 2.5 years and Josh has been zoomed in on every single meeting. I think that says something, regardless whether it's his actual primary residence or not. He doesn't miss a beat in Pocono Township.
And if he doesn't have majority support, then we can postpone or whatever. Can we vote, President?
Is there any public comment? Our lawyer asked us to wait a minute, so I think we could wait a minute.
Let's let him research while we accept public comment.
Sure. Good.
Frank Riley, Pocono Township. My only fear would be that this opens up any of the other potential positions to somebody who wants to be on them on different planning commission, whatever. I know that that's more of a decision making thing, but still, I think if we open it up, even this, and I'd be for Josh too, but unfortunately, he's not a technical resident here. His license is in New York, et cetera. That's my concern, and I think going forward, we open any other board up to a possible challenge from somebody out of state or from somebody else who just happens to own property here. That would be my concern. So I'm kind of with you, Ellen, on that.
Thank you.
If when they need it, I can't put my hands on it, right?
While our solicitor's looking that up, I'll have a little discussion here.
We can lay the motion on the table and come back to it during this meeting by motioning to remove it from the table and continue the discussion once Leo has come to his conclusion.
It's a motion to do that.
Motion to lay on the table.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
No more comment?
This is not a debatable motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll come back to it. You have some time, Leo.
There's someone with their hand up here. I don't know how you want to handle that.
Lonnie Christian, Pocono Township. You guys keep tabling things. Put it off to next week, put it off to next week. If there's 5 of you on the board, how often is this committee going to meet? Once a month? Twice a month? Once a month? Okay. Do you have a written agenda of what they're going to look at and what guidelines for these people to look at?
They have 6 duties. They have 6 ascribed duties in the ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you've got 5 commissioners. You take January, you take February, you take March, April. Vic takes a 6th. Okay. And then break it up until somebody can decide to get on it and get active, but get the committee working.
So
it is.
We appointed all but 1 member of the council. It is going to go forward and meet.
Okay, but nobody wants it.
Ellen, we already voted for Ellen to be the Board of Commissioner representative. I don't know if you came in late, but
No, I didn't come in late. I've been here all the time.
We voted for President Ganant.
I didn't think she wanted it.
She accepted.
I thought she said no.
She abstained from the vote, but she
Abstained from the
accepted.
vote.
Matt declined.
Yes, I declined.
Okay.
I got a puppy.
I would note we've motioned to lay on the table, so we intend to remove the item from the table this evening and vote on it. It's just until the solicitor has his verdict.
So I cannot comment?
I'm sorry, sir.
All right.
We're not.
No.
public comment.
You got a guy that wants to serve. All
We're
right. He's not an
public
idiot.
comment.
Make him an associate member. Put your regular members
Sir,
up there.
you're out
Have
of
an
order.
associate so that you, just like on the other boards, you have alternates.
Sir, you're out of order. We're not doing public comment now.
It was.
Can't comment?
We're done.
Yeah, no comment, right? It's Jim.
Okay.
Jim Pellegrini is on.
Did he have, he had his hand up?
Yeah, I didn't raise my hand actually, but I did speak. Just something really quick. This is an advisory council. It's not an official Pocono Township position. So I think there's a distinction there that needs to be recognized. And again, Josh is, as Leo pointed out, and several others, including Natasha, has been faithful to the meetings and engaged in the community. So I would encourage, his appointment for sure. And thank you for the appointment.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to a motion for a consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of the old business minutes of April 22nd and the financial transactions through May 4th as presented, including ratification of expenditures in the amount of $339,595.59 from the general fund, sewer operations, gross payroll, capital reserve, and construction fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Any public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have several vacant appointments. And Pat, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, I would, President Ganant. So my suggestion is we do have an acting assistant secretary and an acting rights to know officer. So we're fulfilling those duties. I would suggest to the board to maybe leave this till next meeting when we have a little more clarity with our new hire that's starting on Monday. She has some skill with right to know. She may be a candidate for that position, and I'll have some more guidance for the board on the secretary position at that time as well.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to table the township secretary, right to know officer, assistant secretary, and assistant right to know officer.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Sure.
This would not be a motion to table. This would be a motion to postpone to the date of the next meeting, or a motion to postpone indefinitely. Lay on the table is something that needs to be done because we can't immediately, or something needs to be taken up more urgently, which is why it's not a debatable motion. These motions would be debatable motions to postpone to a specific time and date, or to postpone indefinitely.
Okay, then I'll amend my motion to postpone this until our next meeting.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So I have a motion here to draft an update to the data center ordinance, confining them to industrial zones only. Heard a decent amount of feedback from the community, concern around where the overlays were placed over the old Summit Resort. I think the best move is to confine it to industrial.
I'll second. Oh, sorry. Second.
Discussion?
Leo, I'm for it, but can we do that since we literally just passed the ordinance last week and it hasn't even been in play, recorded, nothing?
The answer to your question, Natasha, is yes, the board can do that. There is an issue that the board needs to be aware of. And I did some quick research on this issue. In Pennsylvania, zoning ordinances can be challenged if they are de jure exclusionary, meaning exclusionary on the face of the ordinance, or de facto exclusionary, meaning that the ordinance, that the use is either placed in an area where, because of the restrictions imposed upon that use, there's no place in the township that it can be constructed. In this instance, the industrial, as we know, is built out. So the board needs to be aware that there possibly could be a de facto challenge, de facto exclusionary challenge to this amendment and this limitation. The cases go both ways. The risk, if a data center challenges the ordinance. And if they are successful, they will get site-specific relief. So for instance, if Mr. Malla decides to sell to a data center and they challenge and they are successful locating it there because we have de facto excluded them, then a data center would be located or could be located there or anywhere else in the township.
So they'd be able to pick their location.
That's the risk.
Mr. DeVito, oh, sorry.
I just have a question and then you can go, but I thought all the property that, even the way it's zoned now, is already built out. We don't have a lot of vacant land. I don't know that any of it was in vacant land.
My understanding is that some of the parcels in the overlay district remain vacant. I know there are some constraints on those. So as to whether or not with the restrictions that John built into these, they are actually developable. I mean, the challenge would still potentially remain, but we would eliminate putting it in a area that's built out. So I'm just alerting the board, it can be done. But just know that if there is a challenge, there is risk.
Mr. DeVito, will we not have the opportunity to pass a curative amendment to put a hold on it and pass some sort of overlay if we needed to in the future for whatever reason?
The answer is we can do a curative amendment. Our time is up on the prior one, which was the warehouse curative amendment. So the township would be permitted to do so. Recognize that if you do it, you can't do it for another, I think it's 5 years. Or 3 or 5, doesn't matter. But there's a time period within which you would not be able to do that. The problem is once somebody applies and the challenge is made, a curative amendment doesn't necessarily stop that development. It may stop all other development, but not that development.
So it'd have to be done before any plans are submitted.
Yes, because somebody
Or
has
any challenge.
the right to rely on that. That is correct.
I would just say I think we have a strong case here. We have an industrial zone. We're placing it in we're not like confining it to a specific overlay. We're putting it in our industrial zone. Our industrial zone in Pocono Township is fairly confined, but there's good reason for that because we're primarily a tourism economy. We don't want industrial development all over our tourism township. That's part of our comprehensive plan. So I think having it remain constrained and placing it anywhere they would like to develop in an industrial zone is perfectly reasonable. And the industrial zones are fairly isolated from, homes that impact people. So I think that that's probably our best bet.
My concern though is, at least with the ordinance that's in play now, we're kind of controlling the locations. If they challenge it and get a de facto against us, they can literally pick any parcel in the township and build a data center, and there's absolutely nothing that we can do. At least with this, we're confining them to very specific areas.
That's not true. We totally have power as people.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're not having public.
We will have a
comment right now.
public comment in a moment.
You'll get an opportunity.
So I'm just going based off what Leo just said.
Alright,
And the
so-
risk reward is not good.
So, but the district we have now, I would be okay with just taking out the core 5 parcel that borders Kevin's Lane and Ruby Lane, and maybe leaving the others in there. I don't know, but
Is that the zoning map?
Leo, can you
I don't want it affecting residential.
I mean, I'm more inclined personally to explore the curative amendment route because there's a lot of talk about a 3-year moratorium. And I think people need to pressure their legislators to get that done. I also support, something less extreme than a 3-year moratorium, which would just allow us to, ban them outright. I mean, it's one thing to do a moratorium on the whole state, but just to allow municipalities to do a 3-year moratorium on their own, I think would be a good step. So my point is, if we do this curative amendment, it buys us 6 months, Leo?
Well, when you say buys us 6 months, you have to first pass a resolution declaring your ordinance unconstitutional, invalid. You have to set forth those reasons. You have to enact the new ordinance prior to the expiration of 6 months. So you can't just declare it invalid and then do nothing for 6 months, although it stops development. But then if you don't change it, whatever was in place prior, and if we don't come to terms and change it, we've already declared it invalid, and that'll be the first exhibit 1 in any hearing declaring our ordinance defective. So you want to make sure that you have direction or you move quickly, because you still have to give planning commission and you still have to give both Monroe County and Pocono Township the required 30 days. You have to properly advertise. So your 6 months really rolls back almost to 4 months to make decisions and then start the process, but you got to get it moving. Otherwise you lose that ability to do it again.
So couldn't we could vote to redraft it and maybe change up the parcels? If you're saying industrial is not enough, maybe we could.
I'm not saying that. It is defensible. It is defensible, but understand the risk. It is defensible. And I think that it's, from what I've read today, and I've have my little legal memo here and everything, and read some of the cases, there are defenses and it is defensible, but the board needs to know that it is potentially a risk. That's all. That it's not a sure thing, that if you do it in industrial and if we get a challenge, but I mean, it is defensible. There's no question.
Would the time to challenge it be why we have this ordinance change or after?
If somebody came into the, I'll call it the Kevin's Way, Ruby Lane area, and they filed a plan and they met the requirements, you have to hold their feet to the fire as far as meeting all the requirements, but a curative amendment's not going to stop that. You're going to have issues.
Okay.
Ellen, the last zoning meeting that we had, weren't we discussing, because this zoning map has the Kevin's Lane area as a C3, which is where data centers are allowed. Didn't we discuss removing those residential parcels?
Yes.
From the C3 zoning?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, we did.
Which would circumvent a lot of that, right? I mean, I don't want data center either, but I also don't want them to pick and choose where they can build.
Again, it's Commissioner Kepler, raised a good point, and that is just understand that it is challengeable. So if something goes awry, the residents obviously would be very upset. Just understand that it's not locked in 100%. We don't have any issues.
Leo, can I just ask, you said there's cases that go both way, I believe is what you said.
Both ways, that's correct.
In terms of de facto exclusionary, correct?
Correct.
So in terms of industrial being built out, there is precedent that, supports us, but there's precedent that potentially challenges us. I mean, is that still moving through the court system, or what, what's going on there if there's cases that kind of contradict each other?
They are fact-driven cases. They are ordinance-driven cases. So if you look at the ordinance
circumstances,
sure, everything is based on a different circumstance. So if you look at our ordinance and the restrictions, you can be accused of de facto exclusion if you write your ordinance such that there are no properties in the township that they could ever have a data center. Okay. So if you get cute and say, okay, well, I'll make it so that it has to be 500 acres. It has to be located in such an area. There are, 1,000-foot setbacks, and you look at property in your township and none of that property could ever be developed under the terms of your ordinance. That's another de facto exclusion.
But if Sanofi relocates, sells, goes out of business, and we love Sanofi, we hope that doesn't happen. But I mean, potentially someone could buy and build a data center there. I mean, right?
They're industrial anyway, though.
That's correct.
So
they'll be allowed regardless.
Yeah. So I'll vote on your motion, Charles, if you still want to go ahead with it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, motion has been made and seconded. It's up to the president to call the vote.
Is there any public comment? No, I'm sorry.
You know, in stakeholders, there's something about nonprofit representatives operating in the area, and she's the president of Pocono Regional Citizens Group, which covers our area.
I don't have a problem with her speaking, but we have rules. So if you,
I think that's in the stakeholder definition. Do you remember that, Leo? I thought we put something about nonprofit representatives. No, you don't remember?
I don't remember that detail. I don't, I mean, you could have, but I don't remember going into that detail where you define stakeholders. I don't recall. Stakeholders, I think,
Does anybody remember?
was always assumed to be the party that
I think the only,
We talked about elected officials, business owners, operators, and I believe nonprofit representatives operating in the area.
I consider the public comment policy written on our agenda to be the one that says residents, stakeholders, and local businesses. It doesn't say anything about nonprofits.
Well, I'm saying the definition of stakeholders that we agreed to included elected officials. Natasha had brought that up, and
Yeah,
And nonprofit.
I don't have any, I'm not opposed to letting Lisa speak.
Yeah, I don't have a problem letting her speak. It's just, yeah, again, if we want to enforce the rules fairly, I agree with President Ganant.
That was my recollection. That was included, but maybe I'm wrong.
Discretion of the president.
pleasure of the board.
I say let her speak.
I say let her speak.
Yeah, fine. Okay, Lisa, come on up.
It better be good now, right?
Yeah, right. That's right.
Talk about pressure. Lisa Buckholz, Jackson Township. I was just wondering if the board, being that data centers are a big topic now, and Penn Future has been fighting it for a long time, and they've been involved throughout Monroe and other counties with the board, and under Leo and the zoning officer be a part of a conversation maybe with Penn Future, with buttoning up the ordinance and maybe working on the zoning as to the appropriate place and the ways that you could protect from impact on residents. Because I mean, I know that there's areas that are industrial, but I'm hoping that Crossings is involved in that. Another location where that is would also be something you could put in instead of on Warner. Because the problem with Warner is, what's to say that somebody can't, I'm sorry, what is it that somebody can't come in and turn it into a data center? Now they have all the approvals. So it's kind of like, it may be just in that conversation you can have.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Cindy?
Cindy Greger. Okay, so I would say that if you're talking about having areas that you would allow a data center, understand that they use like 300,000 gallons of water to cool the electronics. We are one of 13 areas in this entire state that has high quality waters. So you have to take that into consideration too. Where would they be drawing their water from? Because they supposedly cleanse it and eject it back. So, okay. Well, so that's what I heard. But anyway, you still have to protect our waters. So that would be something that also would have to be looked at.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
That would be our argument, one of our arguments.
Yeah, I would just say, we base the ordinance off the Penn Futures model ordinance. John could speak more to that. And in regards to water, I think we do need to, we're open to suggestions on refinement, but right now we're just discussing where they're going to be allowed essentially.
Frank
Reilly, Pocono Township. Just going back to that ordinance, I probably wouldn't change that ordinance at this point. Instead, I might want to make it stronger as far as, like she had mentioned, filtering the water, like I mentioned during the other meetings. You do it so they have to filter the water, make sure everything is, perfect to go back into the ground, right temperature, the whole nine. I think that would strengthen the ordinance way more than doing this other thing and, having to get a new one done in 4 months. This way we have something in place. It's been there, we've only had it for a week. I would highly recommend we leave it the way it is and then add something like that as far as pollution and, you know, making sure there's no PFAS in the water going back in, make sure the temperature's right, making sure there's no plastic, et cetera. The other thing is when it comes to Sanofi, as I think you guys have all, well, you guys have all been at the meetings with the zoning, as have I. They've already mentioned about their property back there that's residential and converting it to industrial at some point. So that is also a concern because that does actually back up to the people up on the mountain. So,
Thank you.
you know,
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I just want to comment. My name is Gianna Leo Falcone again. You guys, I'm new here, but this is going to be a fun couple of years, I'll tell you. Now, currently, there are a number of townships all throughout America who are full out banning data centers. And that would actually be an even more proactive way to protect our community. And there's already precedents. So your lawyer could look into this. The precedent has already been set. Many townships have actually just banned them. And the country as a whole is going towards this 3-year moratorium. So if we have the power, we don't have any, if you don't currently have any applications, you could put a ban and it would not be a conflict of interest. So I'm just putting it out there. It is an option and it would protect our community while they figure out how to put them in space, which is what they're probably going to do. In 10 years, these data centers are going to be completely obsolete.
Thank you.
They're going to leave completely empty warehouses. Thank you for your time.
Madam Chair, I would strongly recommend against trying to ban them. I think that would open a door that this township would not want to open.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Anyone?
I do. Yes, Dawn Ilever, resident. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dawn.
I have a question. I missed your overlay. Is the solar farm part of the overlay for the data centers?
No.
Oh, it's not on the overlay, so they're not going to consider it up there?
No.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other public comment?
Jim Pellegrini.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, this data center ordinance is good. You know, it's a first pass through. There are definitely a couple more things that could be added to it. What type of a luxury of time do we have to investigate further to see if it warrants some modifications? Because I believe it does. You know, I mentioned batteries is one thing. I think it was Frank that just spoke about the water and whatnot. But the truth is, two things. Nobody's approached us to put a data center in. That's number one, which is good. And the second thing is that all of the considerations for the data center would have to be approved, which I'm relatively confident are going to require some pretty heavy waivers. And if those waivers aren't granted, then they're not granted. So I don't know. Maybe we have a little bit of runway on this one to refine it and to get it tighter. But the data center ordinance is good. Maybe we could just need to revisit it.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Cheryl. Oh, Cheryl.
Cheryl Parks. I think right now, if you could just take the Warner Road thing off, like Ellen suggested, because what if the warehouse now gets all the prep work done, and then somebody offers them, you know, to put a data center there instead of the warehouse? What if that happens? And it wouldn't even surprise me. So maybe for right now, if you could just take Warner Road, like Ellen suggested, and change that, that would at least give us a little bit of feeling a little bit better about it, because we're not going to have any more quality water, even as it is. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
A quick question, if I may, Jim Pellegrini.
1 second, Jim.
Yep.
Come on to the microphone.
Township. I was just curious on the comment that she made. Is that possible? Is that in a zone which that could be
I believe,
hypothetically, is that zone industrial and whatever for a data center if that was to happen?
So as of right now, that Warner Road corridor is zoned C3. There's 2 industrial parcels in Pocono Township. There's a tiny little corner up at the Mount Pocono Borough municipality line, and then the Sanofi parcel. So the data centers are allowed in industrial and C3. All the Warner Road parcel, that corridor, that's the C3 parcel. So as of right now, data centers are allowed in the C3.
So hypothetically, that could possibly happen.
It potentially could.
That was all. Sorry to.
So there are 6 parcels that are currently in the overlay. I think just very briefly, it might help to list them for the public and for everybody. There's a 39-acre plot of land on the north side of Route 715 and east of Ann Lane, has no business on it currently. There's a 42-acre plot of land south of Route 715 and west of the Pocono Medical Center property. It is currently owned by Florida Realty Associates and has no active business on it. However, the property is the site of Summit Resort, one of the Pocono's many now defunct destinations. There is a 39-acre plot of land south of Route 715 and west of I-80, predominantly south of Pocono West Way, with a small area north of Pocono West Way. The property is currently owned by Pocono Medical Center, has no businesses on it. There's an 86-acre plot of land south of Warner Road, east of Tumbleweed Drive, and west of Kevin's Lane in I-80. This property is currently owned by Court 5. There's a 39-acre plot of land east of Route 715, north of Warner Road. It is currently owned by PPL and is the site of PPL Electric Utilities office. And there's a 67-acre plot of land southeast of Route 715. Its north corner is at the intersection with Warner Road, otherwise separated from Warner Road by the Pocono Elementary Center property. This parcel is currently owned by Old Dominion Freight and used as one of their service centers. So, just wanted to read that. I support strengthening this ordinance with conditions on water and electric. I support strengthening it by removing parcels as much as I think is legally defensible. Obviously, there's a question about what is legally defensible. Our solicitor is saying that there's kind of cases that go both ways and there's different circumstances. So I'm still willing to vote on the motion on the table, to be honest, and I still support that. But if that fails, then I'm open to doing what you suggest, Ellen, or a variation on that. I think, it's tough because obviously tomorrow somebody could submit plans and that's that. So, it does, I would prefer to act now. So that's where I'm at.
So Leo, if this passes tonight and we just put it in industrial, we can then take our time and add parcels to it?
You can always add and remove parcels.
Because we have not.
We just have to go through the process.
Another process, yeah.
Yeah, but but I'm saying the process, meaning that it takes time.
Right.
The money's not the issue. I understand that. It's the time that's the issue, which is why the data center overlay was developed as quickly as it was, because we wanted to try to get out in front of this thing. And I think the board did a yeoman's job of trying to get out in front of it. But no, if you voted tonight to amend, you're not restricting anything. You are amending the current data center portion of the zoning ordinance to place data centers in the township's industrial zoned areas. Then we can get working on, with the authority of the board, we can get working on that amendment as quickly as the board would like.
So at the same time, can we amend, is it possible to amend the motion to remove the Core 5 property and put it
Well, I think there's a motion on the floor, and I'll defer to our parliamentarian. I think there's a motion on the floor to amend the ordinance to permit data centers only in the industrial zone area.
Yes.
So that we'd have to, Ellen, there'd have to be action on that motion. And then if it fails, other motions can.
Well, she could make a motion to amend my motion. That would be in order. Motion to amend, and make her amendment, whatever you'd like to strike out or add, whatever language you would like changed. That could be crafted, and debated.
I'd like to vote, and then, if it fails, then, we can go a different route.
Motion for the previous question would be, what we want to do to just take the vote. And that would be, I believe a 2/3 vote we need to.
Well, we got a motion on the table. I mean, let's just.
Unless Ellen wanted to amend, yeah.
Well, let me just ask, and then we'll move on. Would you be amenable to amending it?
Personally, no, I think industrial, confining to industrial is our best bet, and that's what I'd like to see.
Okay.
And
And,
I would definitely like to discuss further. I'm in agreement with restricting the ordinance further. However, I also don't want to be in a catch-22 where we're putting it in areas that are built out. I'm agreeable to look at other parcels. So taking out the Warner Road, Kevin's Lane, those areas, and it might be spot zoning, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like even like the Old Dominion complex where it's already a warehouse industrial complex, like making that. And I don't know if that's spot zoning or not, but I'm just saying, like, I'd be okay with agreeing with you to pick parcels to make sure that we're not going to get sued, and then them just get carte blanche to build wherever they want.
and if we did that, I know I'm belaboring this, but, we could take them out before we have the new hearing, right? And do it all at once, right?
Or do we do that during the hearing?
The new hearing. You mean on the comprehensive?
I'm saying if this motion were to fail,
Correct.
then we could still vote to amend it.
Well,
If
you
take those words.
you could put a different motion on the floor. Which would be your variety of motion.
Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now you have a motion on the floor, and that motion is to permit data centers in the existing industrial district.
Which
We're not restricting anything, we're permitting.
Which if
I like
we
combining
eliminate
them.
the C3 zoning district completely, right? So if this motion passed, it would eliminate this entire C3.
Yeah.
Currently, there is no C3
Well,
in
future
Pocono Township.
C3.
Potentially future C3, that is
Sure.
correct.
But it's not all of C3, right? It's just the overlay. It's just the overlay within that C3 area.
In that area.
Those specifically overlaid parcels.
I think it's most of that.
It is. It's
So
almost
it's
all
not
of it.
all.
Yeah, I think it's almost all of it.
I would also just say that there's been a lot of consternation in communities across Pennsylvania that I've been hearing about overlays and the ways they're used by municipal governments. A lot of people feel that they're not transparent because when you pull up the zoning map, you don't see the overlays right away. A lot of times it's harder to tell if your property or a property near you has been overlaid rather than directly zoned. I personally would like to see the township move away from using overlays and try to use our zoning more practically. And in this case, confining it just to industrial, it's very clear to anyone moving into a community, anybody who lives in a community, where these sorts of uses are allowed. There's no, additional considerations that need to be made about what might pop up in their backyard.
Okay. Pat, will you do a roll call vote?
There's,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick and along the exact lines that gentleman just mentioned is switching purpose. And that's a dangerous thing. There's another behemoth, if I could put it that way, on the horizon, and that are detention centers where the government is buying warehouses for like 5 times what they're worth. And there would be nothing really stopping Core 5 from selling it to a detention center either. So I think some of these uses need to be defined. So I know for a fact, and I asked Jared when he was here, that we do not classify detention centers as we do with prisons. And I think that that needs to be done to prevent anybody from buying that property and turning it into a detention center. You know, you got data centers, detention centers, all here now, and all being kind of bolstered by government, money and subsidies. So I think we need to maybe get a little more granular in some of these things and put things where they need to be, so they can't switch purpose on us. You know, get one thing approved and built and then switch it to something else. Thank you.
Roll call, Pat.
Roll call vote. Commissioner Leap,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Ganant,
Yes.
Commissioner Kepler.
Yes.
May I request that the board authorize solicitor's office to prepare the required amendment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So just to be clear now, we just voted to just put it in the industrial, and we have the option of,
You always have the option of changing and amending. Right now, it's to amend the recently passed ordinance to permit data centers in the industrial district.
okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to raise a question of privilege. I'd like to ask the solicitor if he has an answer on the appointment of Josh Knapp.
I was just gonna do that. You beat me to it.
Yes, the First Class Township Code states that you're allowed to establish an environmental advisory council. It says that the members of the council shall be residents, and then it doesn't define resident. So if you look further and go to the standard definition, generally used in municipal terms, it says that Pennsylvania law applies the ordinary domicile-based, meaning additional requirements may apply if imposed by local ordinance. So you're looking at domicile-based. If you want to look at domicile-based, evidence may include home address, utility bills, driver's license, license or deed. So I think Mr. Knapp would certainly, I don't know what I know what he lists as his home address. That's on his driver's license, pays utility bills at both, and certainly has a deed for the property that he comes to or properties that he comes to in Pocono Township. So there is no definition contained in the First Class Township Code. So the board has some decisions to make this evening on Mr. Knapp and his serving on the EAC.
I'll make the motion to remove the consideration of Josh Knapp from the table.
I'll second that. So you can vote.
Yeah, take it from the table,
right,
yes.
Oh, I was confused.
Yeah. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Aye.
Okay, now we would need to vote on the motion to appoint.
Wait, I didn't hear Matt's vote. I don't know.
I didn't vote. I just want to vote on Josh. I want to vote.
Well, that was removing him from consideration.
We're taking it from the table. We placed it on the table. We're moving it from the table.
I'm confused.
No, very simply.
No.
The matter was held in abeyance. The matter was held in abeyance. It's now the motion following format. The motion is to take that matter out of abeyance and put it before. So the first order of business is to vote to now consider the motion for Mr. Knapp's participation on the EAC. So all it's doing is bringing it back to the front.
Yeah. So the question now before us is the question of whether to appoint Josh Knapp.
Not yet.
The motion passing to remove from the table or take from the table would place that motion before us again.
Correct.
So I made the motion. Who seconded it?
to vote.
Wait, I made the motion.
No, I'm saying the motion to appoint Josh Knapp. Earlier, I made that motion, didn't I?
Yeah, so
We're not there yet, though.
yeah, we haven't, yeah.
But doesn't it bring it right back to the table?
Well, yeah, but we
Well,
have to vote
we
to
haven't
bring it
passed
back
this
to
one.
the table. We haven't voted yet because Matt.
Yes, I will vote to bring
Okay.
it back to the table.
Okay, motion
Okay.
carried.
Okay.
Now you're good.
So now the motion before us is to whether to appoint Josh Knapp.
Do we have a motion?
We don't need a motion. The motion is already before us.
Thank you.
Natasha already made the motion, seconded by whoever. So
I'm glad you're paying attention. Okay.
I think we
Any discussion?
No.
Public comment?
Yes, Jim online. I'd love to see him on the board.
Thank you, Jim.
Frank?
I'm just going to say the same thing again. It doesn't specify. And in the future, if we have other people who want to get on different boards, we can end up running into a problem. People out of state own Airbnbs or something, and somebody wants to be on a board. You have no leg to stand on if you've appointed somebody else.
Well, it's still board discretion to appoint somebody. I mean, just because somebody's out of,
I
you
know.
know, it doesn't mean they have to be appointed.
Right, I agree, but I know there's, and believe me, I would vote for him too. I mean, I think he'd be great for the board, or but he's not a technical resident. He doesn't have a license here, and I think that potentially can cause problems in the future. That's my view on it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks for your patience, Josh.
Okay, so next item here that I have, Madam Chair, if I may have the floor. I received a letter from the Christ Episcopal Church in Stroudsburg. I'd like to read the letter here. Mr. Kepler, I am Carl Ausfall, the senior warden, lay leader of Christ Episcopal Church of Stroudsburg. Your contact information was passed along to me by Sue Lyons. Tom Campbell of PVEN, the United Way, are looking to establish a community-wide food pantry that might meld all the various pantries in the area into a larger effort. CEC has by far the largest pantry in the area, serving more than 600 persons suffering from food insecurity twice a month. Our major challenge at this point is the storage of food and equipment required to feed 600 people bi-monthly. At this point, we have 5 commercial-sized refrigerators, 15 rolling cabinets, and multiple racks filled with various food stuff. This all currently resides in the basement of CEC, a church built in 1905. As you can imagine, our pantry ministry has outgrown our physical space. Our initial thought was to move the refrigerators, cabinets, and racks off-site, transporting back to the church only what is required for Saturday distribution. It is our hope that by our example, we'll be joining the other and by joining other pantries who would also store off-site. Eventually, it is our hope that distribution could be shared amongst the pantries on a rotating basis. Toward that end, we're calling to be gifted a box. We're being gifted a box truck to facilitate such movement. I appreciate you and your council's consideration in making use of your vacant space for such an effort. If you have any questions, I can be reached via this email or cell, and they're redacted. From Carl Ausfall. So with that being said, I would like to make a motion for the township manager to coordinate with Christ Episcopal Church regarding the storage of food and equipment in the formal municipal building located at 112 Township Drive.
I'll second that for discussion.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask: would this be a lease, or are we just letting them? What's actually the agreement? I guess I'm open to this. I'm just trying to understand.
So there has, no specific agreement has been worked out. What this motion is requesting is that, our township manager, either Pat or Jim, whoever is chooses to take it up, would reach out to them and work out the details to present to us more formally. And depending on how it would work out, whether or not it's even logistically possible for them to, come tour the space, see if it's reasonable. I don't know that we would want to charge them rent. I personally would not be in favor of charging them rent. Currently, the building's sitting empty. I'd rather see something in there, and if we could help the food pantries, I mean, we're right in the center of Monroe County. We could be a hub for food distribution, and I think that would be something that Pocono Township could really brag about as being a great thing that our community does.
No, it could be a $1 lease. I was just curious what the agreement would look like. I would just suggest that if we're going to pursue something like this, that it should be month to month, with the opportunity for us to terminate the lease or whatever at the end of each month. I mean, if there's an issue, if somebody else inquires about the space and we want to explore that, I just want to make sure that we have that option.
So a suggestion for a happy medium might be Kenny's Way, the lower level that used to be the commercial kitchen. Because that space was rated for all of the freezers and refrigerator spaces. We have absolutely no plans for Kenny's Way in any time in the near future. That might be a good happy medium to leave the municipal building open, but give them a space that, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any plans for. So, and it's already rated for it.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion to amend my motion, striking out the words "the former municipal building located at 112 Drive" and replace them with any available municipal space that is currently unoccupied. I have a second on that.
Yeah, I'll second that. My only concern would be obviously insurance, Leo.
That's correct. Yes,
And-
they would have to have required insurance.
And then if they were using freezers, then they're using electric. So that might be a consideration of what they could pay in lieu of rent, of maybe the electric bill. But I don't,
If I may, I think I can follow up and speak with the representative from the church. There's several things, right? There's electric, obviously, there's access, there's insurance, and these are things that we can discuss. We'll put something together and I'll bring it back for the board because it sounds from the board that there's unanimous support for at least investigating it. So I'd be happy to do that.
The bakery at Kenny's Way has a separate electric meter too.
Does Kenny's Way have like box truck access? Because that's what they were looking for. I know I think they had mentioned our municipal building specifically because of its large parking lot that's easy to navigate with a truck.
Would there be space for?
Why don't you
But
talk to
it's
them
not-
about
Yeah.
both then?
Yeah, that's why I think
You're
if I learn
Yeah.
more directly what their needs are,
Yeah.
we can summarize some things and bring it back to the board.
So we have the amended motion before the board. So
any public comment? Cindy?
Cindy Gregor. I just think that if we're going to house for a huge food pantry, that part of it should be that they supply the people of Pocono Township that need the use of the food pantry, being that they're from Stroudsburg. So I think if they're going to be in our area, they should supply our people too.
Okay. Maybe that's
and
something.
I believe that was the goal to create the combined one, including the church on Fish Hill Road. That was one of the locations that they mentioned to me specifically that they're hoping to supply in the future. Potentially supply.
Any other public comment? Anybody online? No.
Can you talk to them about that as well? Thanks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next, I'll make a motion to waive the pavilion fees for Pocono Mountain East Junior High emotional support class, 7th and 8th grades. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Natasha. Discussion? Nope. Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we need a motion. Oh, that's me. Never mind.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make the motion for the solicitor to draw up and enter into an MOU for Chris-Ann McDougall with an increase in the hourly rate of $3.75 an hour effective immediately.
I'll second that. Discussion?
I'd just like to say that I think we might want to wait until we have a permanent township manager before we start making decisions about compensation. I know Matt's been waiting for a while to get like more in detail financials of our budget going forward. I know we currently have a $2 million budget deficit. I don't know that this is the time to be giving out raises to people. I think we might want to wait until we have a permanent township manager who can really dig into our finances and make sure that this is a responsible decision at this time.
So Pat Regal did provide the information that this was possible, and for everyone's knowledge, Chris-Ann has stepped up since Jared has departed from the township, and she has taken on a lot of his duties alongside Patrick. So she has significantly stepped up in her roles, and she's one of the main reasons we're still moving forward right now as a township.
Any other discussion? Any public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Next, I'll make a motion to increase Brian Evanshade's rate to the base union rate of $29.83 an hour, effective immediately. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Public comment?
Can I-
Anybody online? Oh, go ahead.
I just want to ask Pat to say a couple sentences on this, if you don't mind. On Brian, or
Sure,
you know,
yeah, so-
just so the public understands.
Yeah, so Brian is the parks manager. As you know, we had two resignations, and Brian has stepped up as well, and he's leading a good group of employees at the parks, and I believe he's deserved to be at the union base rate.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And I'll just make a motion to have the treasurer reallocate the necessary budgeted funds to the proper line items with no effect on the overall budget. And for the public's knowledge, she's just moving money from one line to another. It's not an increase. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I think we should specify the line item she's going to be moving money between. I think that's I don't like the vagueness of the motion before us.
Well, she'll bring it to our meeting for us to vote on, but I'm just having her reallocate. And then we will vote on the.
We will be voting on the specific. We're not. This is not the vote to change it. This is just the vote to have her present the change to it.
Right, because she's going to tell us what number she took it out of and what number she put it in.
Okay, yeah. As long as we're not voting to just change it without seeing exactly what's being changed, that's fine with me.
Any other discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we should probably discuss, we have 3 open positions on the planning board. How we want to handle that. We advertise and do interviews. I don't know that we would do anything different this time, but what is the board's feeling?
How many alternates do we have right now? Do we have a couple alternates? Was one of these an alternate?
We have 2 alternates.
Wasn't Bruce
Erica-
an alternate?
I think Bruce and Jordan are alternates, right?
Yeah, so Bruce was an alternate. He resigned. Claire and Joe were not. So we have 2 openings on the actual commission.
I think Jordan moved up from alternate to
So
now
he
actually on the
moves
board.
up.
So I think it'd be 2 alternates and 1 primary.
Okay. So yeah, we can advertise and
I'd like to make the motion to advertise advertise the openings on the planning commission on Facebook and on our township Facebook page. Is there anywhere else we want to advertise? I don't know.
Our website.
Yeah, I think township Facebook and website. Yeah. I have a second.
I'll second that. Any further discussion?
No.
Public comment? Online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Salvatore Farino and John Vetti as Pennsylvania Special Fire Police, and they've been verified that they possess the training required by Pocono Township Volunteer Fire Company, which exceeds all state requirements. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And can you explain why this Leo or John, I guess, why we need an extension for this, and do we usually do a resolution for an extension?
Typically, we do a resolution.
Okay.
And the development period must be running, John, I would assume.
Well,
And I believe there's a representative here from the developer, Mr. Brown. So with the chair's permission, Mr.
Sure.
Brown can explain why he's here, how much time he thinks he might need, his client might need.
Yeah, so just a bit of background. This was approved a long time ago, almost 2 years to the day. The reason it's taken so long from that date primarily concerns PennDOT. So the background on this is at the intersection of 611 and Bartonsville Avenue. The township had previously, I believe, received some grant funds to put a traffic light in there, but the township was seeking out other funds to get that project done. Fortunately, along came this developer, put a Wawa in, and part of the conditions is going to be the installation of that traffic signal. And the County Economic Development Corporation's helping out with that. But to do that is a very complex PennDOT procedure. We had to get land from 2 different neighbors, purchase a slice of land off of them. That took a long time. So long story short, we have gotten everything from PennDOT. The highway occupancy permits in place. The work is being done within the right of way. That traffic signal will be installed. The only real outstanding item we have, and why we don't have everything complete, is getting a letter of credit in connection with the development agreement from Wawa itself. So the site work is mostly done. So that letter of credit's kind of pushed to the side. There's just the actual build a Wawa letter of credit. That is coming from Wawa, who is the tenant, and they are a big corporation and it's tricky. But we're working with them. We really thought we'd have it before today. We don't. So we're just asking for 60 more days to get that into place. That's the only outstanding item, purely a ministerial thing. Then we should be good to go.
Okay. Thank you.
How much time are you looking for, Chris? I'm sorry.
60 days we had requested.
Does the board have anything? Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to authorize the township solicitor to draft a resolution extending the time frame of Land Development Plan 1415 Erdel Wawa Resolution 2025-23 for 60 days. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You're welcome. Yeah, I just have one thing probably for John. Going back to 4-5 and Ruby Lane, they had some questions that they don't feel have been answered yet. And that would be for the construction that's actually going to go on for the warehouse itself, and then the sewer line that's going down their property lines. When will that start? How long will that be? And what are the hours of operation that they're allowed to operate on? If you have any of those.
I guess I can only answer the last one, which probably no one will like to answer. I don't think there are any restrictions on the hours of operation. I don't know when they're going to put in those lines. I don't know how long it'll take. I can tell you it'll be dependent upon how much rock they hit, but I can try to find out what their current state of their schedule is and what they anticipate. I'll do that and circulate an email tomorrow.
Yeah. So we don't have, I don't know, Leo or Paul, if you know, we don't have anything in our ordinances that say hours of operation. I mean,
unfortunately, there's nothing nuisance related to construction. Obviously, the distribution center warehouses, they have that public and private nuisance, but again, it's not that is causing nuisance, so we wouldn't be able to move under that. I checked land development plans. I didn't see anything in there that would say there's restrictions. I don't know if Leo has any other additional comments.
My only other comment is I've spoken with their attorney, Jeff Durney, and explained to him that this is not going to be received well, not only from the board, but also from the neighbors. He had not heard about their construction plan, and was going to reach out to them and speak with them, but I've not heard anything back yet. I talked to him last week.
I would just like to ask, is hours for construction something that we could add into our zoning ordinance during the rewrite, the ongoing rewrite?
I believe so, yes.
I think we should look at that.
Yeah, sure. Thought it was in there.
I would just like to, I mean, I'd be for that, but I think it should be heavy equipment, construction, machinery.
Yes.
Because by just doing contractors, you're also eliminating the normal handyman that has to do something at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night.
Yeah, yeah.
So you said you reached out to Jeff Durney? I mean, I guess I could call him too.
I did. I reached out to Jeff, spoke with him. He was not aware of that request or that comment as to the work schedule. Explained to him that it would not be received well by both the board and certainly the neighbors. He understood that. He was going to touch base with them, and I have not yet heard back, but I can follow up with them. I talked to him last week.
Okay, so would it be you or John that follows up with Core 5 or is it?
I can
just
follow up.
through Jeff?
I can follow up through Mr. Durney.
Okay.
Attorneys can speak to attorneys. I can't speak to a client that's represented. John can speak to an engineer.
I'll get this, try to get the schedule from the engineer.
Yeah. Okay, because I'm a little confused because when they worked on Golden Slipper Road, I thought there was a time frame, like hours of operation, and now we're saying there's no hours of operation.
I think we were trying to force them to work after hours and on weekends to eliminate the flow of traffic.
Yeah.
I think we were actually enforcing.
We actually tried to get them to work more
Yes.
and faster.
Yeah.
We actually said you have
They
to.
said 3 weeks and we were like 2 weeks and work every night and on weekends and don't close the road.
Well, don't close the road. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was sort of the opposite proposal. Let's get it done and get it done yesterday.
Okay. So we will get back to you once we hear.
Nice.
The black thing, that's what I'm concerned about, would be, they're not having to have a formal, survey, and if that thing's up to trees. And it's, 10 foot from my property line, it makes it 50 foot from my well, but I don't even got my house falling, and the last thing of football.
We can't hear. Can you repeat the concern?
Hey, Cheryl, could you come up to the microphone?
With Cheryl Parks, with my house already being damaged, they don't have to have a formal survey. And they've, like I said, they've got ribbons tied to trees. Well, they weren't there when that's not where the property lines are. But the blasting, they said they can do, and John just said it about how much rock is there. 10 foot from my property line. That's 40 feet from my well. That's about 50 feet from my underground 500-gallon propane tank and my leach field. My house is already damaged. So can you imagine one more blast 40 feet from my house? I mean, this is just unbelievable to me. I can't believe anybody would even approve this. I mean, I'm already appalled by Kevin's Way and them not putting any buffers. And now they can just approve this. Let them go on the other side. They have that whole piece of property. I just don't even get it. So I guess, my whole house is going to be gone. Thank you.
Rebecca, did you want to speak too?
Rebecca Smith, Kevin's Lane, Pocono Township. One, I just want to say I am disappointed I can never get on the Zoom meeting. This is why you have to see me in person. I'm disappointed that I feel that as residents on Kevin's Lane, specifically myself, I can't speak for anybody else, but I am very disappointed. I don't feel that we have been protected in any way, shape, or form. There are no buffers. I've addressed many concerns. They now are building a wall. They have outlets coming. It looks like they're going to pump their crap all over our property. I don't know what's going on. Nobody has clarified anything. They are working around the clock. I get woken up at 1:15 in the morning. They're ramrodding around up there. It's a circus. I can't sleep. Their lights are shining. My neighbor's motion lights are coming on. And not last, not least, but not last, y'all have forgotten about Kevin's Lane. And I don't feel it's fair that we are being labeled or changed. I understand the commercial, keep us a commercial. But you are labeling us the same property as Core 5 C3 that we don't. Now you have us grandfathered in and non-conforming. We were there first. We should not be part of an industrial zone at all.
Thank you. That's all I had. Matt?
Charles mentioned it, and I wanted to talk about it anyway. The budget projection. I know we just put you on the EAC, but tax season is over. And I was just wondering, if you've talked to Gina. I actually talked to her recently as well about this, and just kind of reiterated that we want some sort of long-term budget projection, and that you obviously are willing to work with her on this. So I was just wondering what your thoughts are on that, how long you think that might take, and also the option, if we don't want to do that, we could hire someone to do a presentation, a study, an analysis, just like we had for the sewer fund. So I just wanted to bring that to the board, because I want this done soon, but I also want it done correctly. So I just wanted to discuss it tonight.
Sure. I'd have to check with Gina on her schedule. She has other things she does. I do have a full-time job, but I am available weekends and things like that. Or if I can get the data, I work at home. So I'm good. I will check with her and Pat, who needs her, to see what works.
I think, Pat, you had gotten a quote. Do you remember what that was? I don't. I remember my jaw dropping a little bit, but that's about it.
It's because it was $25,000.
$25,000 to do a long-term budget analysis. I guess they did it for free for the sewer, right? Because they're working with us on the financing.
Correct.
But they did a very good job. So
the other alternative I could offer the board is we may be able to reach out to the accountant that prepares the audit, because they already have the data. They may be able to work that data and provide some kind of long-term guidance without the same cost. I don't know. I can reach out to them if you'd like.
Yeah, I don't know if they can, because they have to be independent.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, they need the same data that I'm going to ask for, right? To what projects do you have coming up in the next few years?
Right.
What do you see? I mean, it's question and answers of the people that are here that's going to give them their data, and they're just going to put it in the format that you need. You're welcome to pay for that, or I can help you with that. Board's pleasure. Yeah.
I prefer not to pay, but I also don't want to overload you, ask too much from you. And Gina obviously already has a lot on her plate. So,
Gina's going to have to get whoever the data. Gina's the data person, right? So
I think I prefer to see it done by a third party myself. Not that I don't trust Ellen and her judgment, but I do think, putting it out to somebody who is not a part of the township would get us probably better results, because they're not coming in with any preconceived notions.
What do you think, Natasha? You don't have to think anything, but I was just curious.
I'm open to either. I mean, numbers are numbers. It's black and white, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I'm just trying to get an estimate. I think if we let Ellen and Gina work on something, and they come back and we want a second opinion for whatever reason, then we can go that route. But yeah, I'd prefer not to spend money on a budget analysis if we don't have to. So yeah, I just wanted to discuss it. We obviously don't have a motion to vote on or anything, but unless anyone has anything else, I can move on. I wanted to talk about the manager posting as well. And I don't, Leo, cut me off if we're getting into personnel and can't talk about it, but I just want to get this posted, start the process. And so I'm just wondering where we're at on that, what we need to do to get that posted. And
I reached out to get a copy of the old ad, and I don't necessarily know that we have the old ad, because that would be Taylor. Was the last ad we did. So that would have been 2019 to 2020 or January 2020. So I did compose one, and we have the manager's ordinance. I can pass that around. And we could tweak it, or we were going to do that for a week, right? Put it out to Indeed for a week or whoever, and then see what we got. And then if that didn't work, Charles had the PSAT's recommendation of a headhunter, basically. So that's where we're at. We were trying to retrieve the original ad, so we didn't have to do the work. And but I do have one drafted via AI. I didn't really spend much time on it, but
Leo, if we get that ad between now and our next meeting, could we approve that retroactively because it's something that is personnel related and of high urgency?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. You're advertising for a position. You're not appointing anybody or anything else. I don't have a problem with circulating it, having it reviewed, putting a deadline on the review date, and then authorizing Patrick to get it wherever you're going to advertise it.
And I mean, last meeting we voted on posting the position, didn't we? I mean, we didn't.
I think you did.
So I think we're good.
I would just want to see the draft before we post it.
Right.
I would want to approve the draft.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking. If we can approve it,
right?
I don't
have a problem.
Okay. I'll keep going. I just wanted to ask, because I would like to get the EAC going, if we have any dates in mind for that. I feel like Chrisanne might have mentioned something. The planning commission isn't meeting at their next scheduled meeting because there's nothing to meet about. Correct me if I'm wrong. So maybe we can use that date. What is it?
It's next week.
It's next week.
Second Monday.
Okay. I guess I wanted to discuss when we could possibly meet for the first time, but we can wait till next meeting if that's what everyone wants to do.
Well, we did have, I thought, and Leo had brought this up to me earlier, I thought we had a work session scheduled that we could add this to, but I don't know that it got advertised, so we're going to have to advertise it.
We can advertise it. We have time, assuming the Pocono Record is cooperative. I think we're early enough in the week, but I thought we were scheduled for a workshop on May 15th.
May 15th.
13th, I'm sorry, 13th.
yeah.
I thought we were scheduled for that on May 13th, but I think that was done under the prior manager, and I don't know that it ever got pushed. Because that was
You don't have it,
discussed
Pat?
March.
It's not on the calendar.
Okay, then that's okay.
I asked Sam about it. Right.
Okay,
I checked.
so. So if you wanted to add that to that
Do
day.
we, I mean, perhaps since everyone was just appointed tonight, you could start a group message with Doodle's pretty good as far as saying, okay, here's 3 different meeting dates and times, and it's a consensus. Everyone fills out their availability, and then whoever has the most availability on X date and time is when you schedule the meeting for. I mean, instead of us trying to make it for the new appointees, maybe ask them.
Sure.
So-
wanted to get the ball rolling.
So you want an email to go out to all the applicants, well, the appointees, right? An email should go out from the township to the appointees.
Yeah,
Saying,
which is like I said,
Right.
which is a doodle, because
Yeah.
normally a doodle is just a survey. So you do different dates and times, and then people say yes, yes, no, no, and then whatever has
I'm
the
not familiar with
yeses.
that, whatever you're talking
It's
about.
like a survey, but
Oh,
like I said, it's you're able to source out a
Could
bunch
you
of
get
dates
someone
times.
to
Okay.
work on that? Could you get Okay,
So it's everybody that's been appointed tonight,
right.
plus I'll include all the board members.
Well, yeah, you could CC us, sure. All right, that's all I got. Thank you. Tasha?
Everything, thank you.
Yes, just since we're talking about the EAC and getting a meeting scheduled for that, I know we'd also talked about the park board a few weeks ago, and I know we had discussed potentially Brian, taking the reins on that and meeting up with them. Is there any progress on that? Have you spoken to him about it at all?
So I have, and he's willing to do so. And he's actually had some conversations with people who are active, informal conversations with people who are active in the parks. But we'll endeavor to get something together before the next board meeting so we can have a meeting. I think he may have reached out to some of the park board members as well.
Fantastic. That's all I had. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Pat? In your manager role?
Put my manager hat on. It's just a few general announcements. I'll actually combine both my DPW, the park, and the manager. It'll keep it simple for me. We did get the speed bumps on Learn Road painted. I know there was some concern after the wintertime with those markings being removed with the salt and the cinders, so they were repainted last week. The guys have been doing a really good job going through the entire township, evaluating, straightening, and cleaning the road signs. I don't know, some people have noticed that. We still have a little bit more to do, but that's been a major initiative for the spring. Especially after the winter with all the plowing and the snow, the signs get pushed over. So we've been working on that. Fertilization of the turf areas and weed control around signs. Roadside drainage work continues. We were excavating some ditches up in Terra today, and the guys will continue to do that. We're also working in the rear parking lot. We have that gate that was installed, and we're getting power to that, and then also the access control. So that's a project that we've been working on. And Mountain View Park, Pavilion 1, needs a new roof. So we began working on that today. That was in the capital budget, but we do a lot of that work in-house and save the township some money. So we're doing the demo on that now, and we'll be putting the shingles on. And other than that, it's pretty much business as usual. It's busy, springtime, getting a lot of calls.
I got a question, Pat.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm gonna admit my bias here because I've been playing a lot of pickleball.
Okay.
But at TLC, there are, I think, 5 or 6 benches around those courts.
Okay.
At Mountain View, there's 1 bench, and it's not even like centered. It's kind of like on the side.
Right.
And I keep going there, and everybody who's playing pickleball is basically sharing this 1 bench, and stuff's on the ground. And like I said, TLC I think has 5 or 6. So I just thought we should stop discriminating against Mountain View Park pickleball and add at least a bench there.
There was actually an idea that I don't know if it ever was followed through, but there was an idea that between courts 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 to install a small bleacher area at Mountain View Park.
Because there's a fence, right?
Because we had enough room between the fence and the edge of the court when we laid those courts out. So I can look at either benches or go back and look at the small bleachers.
Would Municipal have bleachers on there?
They might.
Because we might be able to get some real cheap,
We like cheap. We like frugal. We don't like cheap.
good quality,
Yeah.
best price.
Again,
Usually on it.
again, I'm biased, but I would like a quote on 1 bench because if you go there, like I said, it's not even in the center. It's kind of on the side. So adding 1 on the other side, right now it's in front of court 3 or 1 or whatever. And then there's nothing in front of 1 or 2.
So I can tell you I'm a board member on a volunteer tennis community, and we are purchasing them for courts that we use at Stroudsburg, and I believe they're $560-ish, the ones that we're getting from Frommuth. They might be cheaper ones elsewhere, but these are the good quality, heavy duty ones that are at Strasburg High School. We've actually donated them to Strasburg High School.
Here's another idea.
Sure.
What if you just take one from TLC and put it at Mountain View?
Can do that.
So there's a bench and a garbage can and some other stuff like Adirondack chairs. They're in the woods behind Glenwood Hall, like on the river. I'm not sure if it's a designated fishing area, but there's no signage, there's no path leading to it. You kind of have to bushwhack through the woods to get to it. But it's like a brand new bench, brand new garbage can. I don't know how they got there. We might want to look at moving those somewhere where, potentially here where we can actually use them.
Yeah.
You didn't see this coming tonight, did you?
No, but I like this little challenge.
I don't know. Maybe some kids
Get it
take
done.
from the park. I don't know, but
We'll get it done.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome.
Pat, did we ever get the bid specs for the police wing?
That's more important.
So we are very close to the final drawings. Jim is back in town. Jim had one small review that I believe he looked at, he was fine with. I've spoken with John Tressler. We've discussed how the bid is going to go out, and I actually have most of the components of what will be the base bid versus the add-on. So yes, we are very close, and I would expect for next agenda to have that to the board to be able to vote on.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
We've been working on it. The architect's been very responsive, as has John. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else for Pat? No police report today. Paul.
So this roundabout, we've had 22 permits issued. 9 of them were for zoning. 2 of those were commercial, 7 were residential. We haven't issued any new construction permits this section. 13 building, 4 were for commercial, 9 residential. 3 COs were issued, 1 driveway, no TDU, well, or grading permits were issued. We sent out 2 enforcement notices, 1 for junk and then 1 for chickens and roosters. So we've had 2 complaints so far that we've had to send letters about chickens from neighboring property. So the new ordinance is getting around. People are aware of it. So that's good. The 1 came in. We kind of got that all situated. The other one, I sent out a letter, or will be sending out a letter here shortly. We do have a civil hearing coming up a ZHB hearing for 1328 Golden Slipper. That's a appeal of the zoning denial letter and then a request for variance. That is the hospital. In with the report are the 2 denial letters that were issued to them. And then along with that is copies of the plans for the proposed sign. So part of Leo's discussion, he will probably ask if the board would allow him to come to that zoning hearing and represent, depending if the board wants to take position on the variance.
That's quite a big sign they want. All right, bigger than what anybody else has. So I would like Leo there because I think we should follow our ordinance.
Well, following the ordinance is probably ultra small, but somewhere between ultra small and what they're proposing. And with the board's permission, if I'm authorized to attend, I would call up the hospital's attorney to say, hey, you're getting a little greedy on this sign issue.
The sign they can see from space.
Yeah, the sign, well, yeah, that's
It's China.
satellites can see that.
Has there been anything recent in front of ZHB similar to this? I mean,
Sign variances are very common because most businesses coming in have what they call a typical sign package, whether it be Wawa. Every Wawa looks the same, every Burger King, every Turkey Hill. And every business wants a sign and as much visibility as possible. But I think and I have to agree with Paul, that they've gotten a little aggressive in the size of this sign.
and it's electronic, right? I mean,
So to be clear, there are 2 signs. each were denied. There's a monument sign that they want to put out by 611. And then there's a freestanding sign they want to put off by 80. Both of them are over the permitted size. The monument sign, they are appealing our determination of where that's allowed to be. But the ordinance says it needs to be at the entrance of the property. We said that needs to be at the Golden Slipper entrance. They're claiming that it should be able to be allowed to be put at 611. That's the appeal decision that they're going for. The variances are for the size and height of the signs. All the other items in the denial letter are mostly administrative things they'll just have to provide when they either get a variance or reduce their size sign.
I just wanted to remind us that when Wawa came in, they also had a big sign and we made them bring that down. So I want to treat everybody the same.
And to be clear, there are existing signs for the hospital. There's one freestanding sign out by 611 currently. They just want to add another giant monument sign that's electronic. So
May 28th at 5:00.
So. Are we done? Are we?
May 26th, May
May
26th,
Report.
May 26th, 5:00.
I think we're still talking about it.
yes, it'll be in this meeting room.
I have something else.
Go ahead.
We're still talking about that.
I think we're done now. Yeah.
So, Paul,
Yes.
with our chicken ordinance, didn't we take away permits?
I thought we did too.
I'm pretty sure we did. So why are we issuing a notice of violation for keeping of chickens without permit?
So we didn't get rid of the permit. The board did decide to get rid of the fee for it. Because it is a zoning requirement, even if they are keeping of chickens in violation, we do have to send a notice of violation. Some of them are for too many chickens, some are for roosters. We are getting complaints that people are not keeping them on their property. Total number, the one that came in, I haven't verified this yet, but they're claiming they have a chicken on one or a rooster on 1 acre. So those are the issues. But we are issuing permits for them. There are no fees for it, so people can come in. They tell us they're going to keep chickens. We tell them how many they need to be fenced in. We issue the permit, and then they're good to go.
I thought I remembered that too, Natasha.
I thought, yeah,
I didn't see
that out.
I looked in the ordinance and I didn't see anything about a permit in the ordinance because somebody reached out to me too to ask if they needed a permit. I looked through the ordinance. I didn't see anything. I told them to reach out to zoning, but I couldn't find anything unless it's like located somewhere saying that anything like that, in our regular zoning ordinance that anything like that requires a permit. I didn't see anything in the chicken
So
ordinance.
it's section 470-131. That's the section that outlines where permits are required. Pretty much anything that is in the zoning ordinance would require a permit. So to either change, expand, add, construct, whatever it may be, they're all regulated. If it's a regulation under their zoning ordinance, they get a zoning permit.
So
I
We're
support
not-
eliminating that.
we're
I
not-
think I did that
These
before.
chickens are going to be the death of me.
Never
We're not
ends.
finding people, are we?
So the letter that goes out is just to tell them, here you're in violation. These are the violations. We haven't taken anyone to court. Obviously, we probably,
Certainly hope we don't. Over chicken.
You could.
if it came down to it was a life safety health welfare, we would take them to court. If they're causing on neighbor properties or other kind of issues in violation of that ordinance, we do have the ability to take them to the district magistrate if they don't comply. Obviously, we're going to do everything in our power not to. I don't want to send notices. I don't want to take people to court, cost the township money. We're just here to make sure that the neighbors are all happy and they get along and
So
they're
did-
keeping them in
Did we
order.
ever have complaints on chickens before we had an ordinance?
Yes.
Oh, we did?
Yes, all the time. Yes. Yes. I think he is the defining reason we kind of push this forward.
Anybody have anything else for Paul?
I support eliminating permit requirements for chickens for the record. And I don't know how the board feels about that. I remember arguing for that before. I think
So
I guess
one
we
of
got talked
the-
out. I remember your argument for permits. I don't want
Get
any
rid of the restrictions completely and just allow chickens and roosters in Pocono Township.
Well, we definitely shouldn't require permits for chickens. I think, and I mean, we have an ordinance. You can't, allow chickens to run in your neighbor's yard. I get it, but I think requiring a permit to have chickens is crazy, and I'm against it. And if the board is, I'm happy to put it on the agenda next meeting or whatever.
Just to kind of reiterate why we want to put the permits in place, it does give them the legal ability. So if a future board does want to change an ordinance, they have a legal document issued by the township saying that they are allowed to have chickens. They would have an existing nonconformity at that point. It would cost them no money. It's
Wait, so if they had chickens prior to the ordinance, they'd be a nonconformity?
so if they had chickens prior to when the ordinance went into place to restrict them, they would be an existing nonconformity. So they would have to prove
We
that.
restrict them with that ordinance, we allowed them because they were already restricted.
Now he's saying if the new board comes in and restricts them, then because of our ordinance and their permit, they'll be okay.
Well, then we should just remove it all then.
But he's
I
saying,
mean, everyone has nonconformity.
well, he's saying if we
So if you get rid of the conditions altogether for or chickens, so there's no regulations, they're allowed everywhere, there's no limit to number, then there is no nonconformity because there's no regulation.
But you still have the ordinance in place too.
Well, if there's an ordinance, that means
Fencing
there's
and all that stuff.
yeah. So if there's an ordinance, that's where we have rules that we have to issue a permit to make sure people are compliant with that.
I really hope a future board isn't in favor of banning chickens. I guess it's possible though. So
It's highly likely. It wasn't regulated before 85. Then in 1985, they put in an ordinance. It said you can't keep chickens, and now this board has changed it back.
I would also just say, I think it's important that we do permit them, even if it's a free permit, just so that we know whose chickens they are. If chickens are wandering around a neighborhood and we have no idea who has chickens, then there's no way to say, whose chickens are wandering, whose chickens are being a nuisance or a disturbance, because there's no documentation of who even has them.
They're gonna call the township and say, these persons chickens are. They already know whose chickens they are. Anything else?
Wouldn't that
fall under the
nuisance category instead of a rooster? You can't blame the rooster. The noise violation, the nuisance violation. That could be enforced, right?
We don't have. Yes. Okay.
Do
You
we
guys
get-
have anything else for Paul?
no.
Cindy, we have the nuisance. We don't have noise. We have the nuisance stuff.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on to John.
Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
You threw me for a loop. You didn't ask me about Swiftwater Solar this meeting,
No.
but I will tell you about them.
Okay.
As I said before, they have two basins that seem to be leaking water somehow, and no one knows why. They were ordered to do an investigation, which my understanding now as of Friday, May 1st, was completed, and they're preparing a remediation plan, and we told them that we had to see a copy of that plan before they implement it. So that's the latest on Swiftwater Solar. Core 5 received a notice of violation, it was week before last, from the Conservation District with some of their stormwater controls. We got that. I reviewed it. I also told my inspection group that I wanted to increase the inspection, so we're going to have the same inspection protocol at Core 5 as we did at Swiftwater Solar, so we can keep a closer eye on what's happening there. And the only other thing I have is TLC Park. We have a pre-con meeting tomorrow for the demolition of the bridge and the construction of the abutments. So unless there's anything else, that's all that I have to report this week.
I have something on those basins at the solar field. Now that, they were two specs, right?
Yes.
Signed. Now that we know that spec didn't necessarily work out, are we changing the specs that are gonna be required moving forward?
I still don't know what's wrong. They investigated it. They apparently have a remedy, but I haven't seen the problem or the remedy yet. But if we need to change the spec, we will.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have anything for John?
I have one thing, John, just the TASA project. Not that I want to revisit the sidewalks, but when Charles brought up about giving our old space at 112 Township Drive to the Episcopal Church, I seem to remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, that that space was offered to the TASA contractors. And if we don't offer them a space, we have to pay for a construction trailer.
That is correct.
Okay. I want that to be part of our decision, obviously, and how we move forward.
Yeah, that was discussed, over a year ago, I believe.
Yeah,
We either have to provide them a trailer, and we said, well, wait a minute, we're moving out, we have empty space. And so that was offered.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything else for John? Leo?
Thank you, Ellen. Just a smattering of matters. Was I formally authorized to attend the zoning hearing?
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
Or do we need to amend our agenda? To do
No,
that?
not for
Okay.
this, no.
I'll make the motion to send Leo.
Second. Any discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
The second matter is the engineering staff and Lisa and myself had a Zoom conference today to discuss the open face project that you've tasked us with. We will be preparing a draft. We received your answers to the survey, but we will be preparing what we believe the consensus was to circulate. And at some point in time, once that's sent and received, we would ask for a workshop perhaps to discuss it. We think there's going to be a lot of discussion. John was in on
Yes.
that meeting. John, is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I believe that's accurate. I think we have a sense of direction, but as they always say, the devil's in the details. So we can at least get something that can start a good conversation.
And was this the work session for May 13th that we're gonna have, or do you need more time?
For this part of it, we're going to need more time.
Okay.
Which I have a question. Do we have that work session on May 13th or not? Is
That was my next question, John. Stick to your own report. please.
Okay.
Are we having, it was,
I thought it was in lower fees.
tell you in a second. Let me get to my schedule.
The workshop
Yeah.
was for the police cost ordinance.
It was police course ordinance and open space. Is that what I understand? That's correct.
Okay, so,
But open space will not be ready for that meeting.
okay, then,
Do we still want to discuss the police cost ordinance at this time?
I don't necessarily at this time. Not that I want to give it up, but I want to see where we
How-
end up with
how-
the amusement tax.
I agree. And I want to see the budget projections.
Yes.
Okay, so what do we have to do anything on that? Because
So, well, unless we would like to have a work session to come up with our agenda. But,
not particularly.
That was kind of
okay,
a week and a half prior. Because it's next week, 13th.
yeah.
The agenda doesn't come out to the
Well, then,
weekend before.
so if we're not doing the course ordinance and not doing the in lieu of, then we don't need the work session.
I mean,
That's what I'm
I-
hearing, right?
I'd still like to discuss the police cost recovery ordinance. We did have a motion that was approved to discuss it and schedule the work session. I suppose we could have a motion to cancel it.
Yeah, it didn't get advertised. Do I need to amend the agenda to make a motion to cancel that meeting that we never advertised?
It was never, yeah, that actually never made the books. I mean, for record purposes in the minutes, you may want to just make a motion to open the agenda, add that matter and vote on whether or not you want to continue to have it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to open the agenda to add a motion regarding the work session.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
I'll make a motion that we postpone or cancel the work session scheduled for May 13th. I guess that's it. Just cancel it and we'll
Second.
discussion. Public comment?
Jim Pellegrini here.
1 second, Jim.
Well,
It may be. I
well,
mean,
the open space is gonna get rescheduled, so it's possible they will both go up at the same time. Yep. Jim?
Yeah, I just want to be clear. Are you canceling the move to put that in place, the police recovery, or are you just
No.
canceling?
Just the work session that we voted for, but we didn't get it advertised.
Okay, but you're going to continue pushing for that, right?
I don't
Or
know, we're gonna continue
consi-
discussing, I believe.
I am.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think it's a good idea. So, all right, I just wanted to be sure that it's not, being squelched.
Jim, I just want clarity on there's still an issue with the amusement tax that we are working through as a board, and that's a big issue. And I would say we should have more clarity on that issue in the next 2 to 3 months, I would say. And it could be sooner, could be later. And then also the long-term budget projections that we've discussed in the meeting, I think are very important to guide future policy. So I think that's important to have before we act on the police cost ordinance. That's where I'm at. And, the board might disagree with me, but I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And as I think I've mentioned it, that the ordinance for the police is going to impact 0 residents as it's written in all practicality, because nobody in any residence, and even in some of the commercial properties that Natasha was concerned about, actually meet the criteria for being charged. But yeah, I'd like to see that, continue forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Leo?
Yes, with the board's permission, I checked with Patrick, he's available. I would like to have a 10-minute executive session to discuss personnel, and it will be no more than 10 minutes. But I didn't meet the 24-hour notice, but if the board is inclined, I want to alert the board to a situation, that's all.
Yeah, no, it's during a meeting, so we don't need the 24 hours.
That's true, right,
Yep.
that's true, good point.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody have anything else for Leo? Then I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. We did at the beginning. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you want to?
I don't know who it is.
I don't either, but.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah.
Sure.
Take my 1 minute.
Yep, take your minute.
What's the wrong building?
Your name, please.
Sure. My name is Marty Nickel. I'm one of the founding board members of the Pocono Vacation Rental Owners. So I want to make a positive comment about short-term rentals very quickly. Unfortunately, it sounds like the only time Pocono Township commissioners hear about short-term rentals is probably when there are problems or complaints. And I wanted to just change that by reading a handful of reviews from guests who stayed at properties in Pocono Township recently. All right. We ended up having a Camelback ski in, ski out, 8 guest, 3-bedroom. The review was written 2 weeks ago. Where they were very communicative. The hosts were very responsive. The place is very clean, well kept. Highly recommended this home. We'll be back again to book later. Another family writes a review that says, a review written, my family had an amazing time. The host was great at responding to questions, giving recommendations for things to do. An amazing family, friendly house, and plenty of amenities for the kids. Would definitely say. So the issue is, most of the short-term rentals are really taking care of the properties and the people and are good neighbors. And we really support good neighbors, and we want to close the bad ones. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting into an executive session and we won't return. Thank you for
Second.
coming out. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Hey, one of you might know that. And I don't think they're like.